this computer. Okay. Now it should make sure that it asks you or whatever. So go ahead and accept that, and then we can get on with the meeting. Oh, and there's Tom. He's in the waiting room. Hello, Thomas.
There he is.
You do know that it's the same link every month, right, Tom? You're on mute.
He's on mute.
You're still on mute.
Oh,
Mouth is just moving.
we have such a trouble.
Can I say, Barbara, that when I click on that link, it tells me it's spam or junk or whatever. So I actually go to Zoom and put in your meeting number.
That is crazy. I wonder why I told you
I
that.
haven't had that problem.
No, I haven't either. No problem.
And I did that last month too. So, and maybe it's just my computer and the whatever I have doesn't like it. I don't know.
Yeah, it just could be your settings,
Yeah.
because I don't think anyone else is having it go to the
Okay.
spam folder.
Well, I will try to make it easier next time for everybody.
I don't know how you can make it any more
Yeah.
easy than you already are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Click the link.
So first and foremost, I want to show off my t-shirt. I did this on my Cricut.
Really? Oh, wow.
What does it say? What does
And I
that?
love it.
what
It is
does it-
our Lower Bucks Genealogist.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
have my name underneath it, and I did it in shiny vinyl.
Wow.
So I was like all proud of myself. I'm like, yeah, it looks so good. I love it. So that's the first big thing. If you're not following our Facebook page, Maria has been keeping up all of this amazing info, which again, Maria, thank you so much. She's been a terrific social media manager, so I'm very grateful that we have her.
Good.
In personal research news, I haven't really done anything this month. I'm still working on like starting my database over and starting to get some pictures scanned and some documents scanned and that whole thing. But I think my biggest news is that May 11th, I'm starting the Boston University courses. So
Wow. Congratulations.
And what
Thank
are
you.
those? What are
So
those?
Boston University has Cynthia, correct me if I'm wrong. So they have the research certificate course, which is an 11-week course. 11 weeks?
One's 9 and one's 15.
Wait a minute. Okay, wait. Genealogical Principles is the one that I'm starting in May. That's the 7-week course.
That's the introduction of the basics.
Yeah.
And the certificate program is the 15-week course, which is probably going to be sometime in September. But
That's the professional certification.
this is what I've decided to do with my stimulus check, and I'm doing it. I'm going for it. So,
Good for you.
yay. So I would imagine that I'll probably be pretty busy starting in May too, but you know, it's all
How
good.
often do you do it, Barb? Every day?
I'm going to set time aside every day to work on it. And of course that depends on how busy work itself is, but you know, got to have that day job. But I'm really excited about it. I'm glad I decided to make the decision. I mean, Zach's not using his 529 plan. So the initial payment I'm going to take out of that. And then the additional, I'm going to just use, you know, the part of the stimulus payment for it. So.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I looked into that. That's I hope you got it when it was on sale. A discount.
Well, I don't think there's a discount, but it's okay. I'm good. I'm happy. So finally, 50 years old, I'm doing this. So yay me. I'm proud of myself.
Good for you.
And that is all the news I have on mine. Oh, one more thing I do want to talk about. I've been going online and looking for some sort of waivers for when things get back to normal and we all start meeting in person again. The waiver is going to be not only to protect the club, but also Team Toyota when we can meet in person there again. I think ideally what I'm going to do is, you know, whoever wants to meet in person obviously can meet in person, sign the waiver form holding, you know, the club and Team Toyota harmless should you come down with COVID. But we're not going to start meeting in person again until things open up all the way and more people have the vaccination. And I don't want to know if you've had your vaccination. Your personal health is your private business, but I would encourage you that if you have not had your vax, and you're going to get it, to not start attending in-person meetings until such time that you have it. It's not a requirement. I'm just saying, you know, your health is your personal business, and I don't need to know about that. But I also want to protect your health as much as possible, which is why we're not going to start meeting in person yet. But I think what we will do once we can is hold a hybrid meeting where those who want to be there can be there in person, but those who are not comfortable with it, I will launch the Zoom and have it up on the big screen. And then that way everybody can participate, and those who don't want to, you know, be out and about don't need to be. So I wanted to let you know. Yes, Susan.
I just have a comment.
Yes.
The CDC just came out with if both parties are, if you can meet in small groups, if you both had your, if all people have had their vaccine, and there may not be anybody in our group that is not going to get the vaccine. I mean, you could ask us if we are planning on getting the vaccine, which I hope everybody is, but if we've all had our vaccine, then, you know, we can wear our masks and go to a meeting and we don't have to worry about it. And maybe you'd like to put that to a vote as to what we want to do, as long as Team Toyota is okay with it.
Right.
That's what I would suggest. What?
That's one of the things I need to do is after I have something drawn up and have my lawyer look at it, I want to present it to Team Toyota and get their approval to let us start doing that. But I don't think yet, I think it's still too early yet for us to be able to do that. I just wanted you all to know I have the wheels in motion. I'm working on it. And that way we're all protected, you know?
You may want to go to Team Toyota first, because they may have their own ideas on what they want, what they're going to allow. So
yes, ma'am.
Whatever they allow, you can go from there.
Yeah. Well, I will reach out to her maybe next month, the contact there, and see what's what. But I wanted to let you all know that this is in process and I am working on it. And you know,
yeah, most of us are probably in that 1A or 1B group, because we're, you know, all older than snot. Well, not all of us. A lot of us are.
Not all of us.
Not all of us.
I am.
I am too.
I got my shots.
Yeah, me too. I did too.
I got one.
Yeah. So we're probably going to be.
I'm with Barbara. I don't qualify maybe in July.
July. Yeah.
Well, you know, like I said, we're just gonna go with the flow, and we're going to proceed with caution, obviously.
Yeah.
But Susan, I like your ideas, and Lynn, I'm definitely going to be reaching out to the contact there at Team Toyota, make sure that everything is, and like I said, once I have something reasonably drawn up, I'm gonna have my lawyer look it over just to be on the safe side.
Yep.
And make sure that we're all protected on a whole, you know? And
I like the hybrid thought that you would still have the Zoom capability. because I could be down the shore traveling, or people could be other places, and they can still bring their laptop and log on and not miss Genealogy Club.
That's a good
Right.
idea.
Right. And then that way we can also still record, which is nice.
Right.
You
Except
know,
Beverly, I think that would be something that may want to be ongoing too.
That's
Because
what
if
I
we
mean.
have some members that are in other states, they could join in.
Exactly.
So
That way
I
from
think
now
that's-
on.
I think that's the direction we're going to take, folks. You know, and anybody's ideas obviously are all welcome. You know, just we got to proceed with caution and, you know, go from there. But just so you know, I am thinking forward and trying to set things in motion, or you know, at least in place, get our ducks lined up in a row. Right now, they're not even all in the same pond. So
Exactly, and it's going to be that way for some time yet. But getting a jump on
unfortunately,
it, getting a jump on it is wise, and I agree with everything that you've said so far. So yeah, I'm on board for that.
awesome. Okay, I'm going to hand things over to Mr. Purdom.
Oh, hello.
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 I haven't done a whole lot of research recently, but what I am doing is taking all my notes and putting them together in loose leaf notebooks. And from that, I am typing up a basic set of pieces of information for each of the people in my direct line, and then from there I'm adding in spouses, children, aunts, uncles, that sort of thing. It's a long, complicated project, but I think I have plenty of time lately. So anyway, today is my father's birthday. He's no longer with us, but he was born on the 13th of March in 1915, which would make him, if he were still alive, 106, I think. I've probably told you in the past that I collect books on genealogy. And one of the books that I have isn't necessarily genealogy, but it's a history book of the United States. It was published in 1902. I'm going to hold it up so you can see it. There we go.
Oh, neat.
Cool.
And this particular page I have is a map of the United States. And it says, map of the United States at the close of the Revolution. Now, if you're doing research in the United States and your family was here before or during the Revolution, here's an interesting thing. The following states had western borders on the Mississippi River: Georgia, North and South Carolina, Virginia, Connecticut, and Massachusetts. Now, shortly after the Revolution, they started adding states, and a lot of the states, for instance, New York State, there was the western part of New York State from Syracuse all the way west was claimed by Massachusetts. And at some point after this map was produced, that section was taken over by New York State. Most of Maine, not all of it, but most of Maine at this time was part of Massachusetts. And of course, at the time of the Revolution, there was no West Virginia either. And there were additions to the borders of Pennsylvania. So I thought it was very interesting to see this map and to realize that the borders of the states changed and the borders of counties changed. I do a lot of research on Illinois and Ohio and Maryland. That I had ancestors in Maryland as far back as the 1680s. And if you start looking at the border changes, you find out that there's just an immense number of border changes, additional counties and so forth.
Mhm.
A good example would be Illinois. I think Illinois added, from the time it became a state, I think it was in 1818, I think. I think they had something like 48 border changes inside the state.
Wow.
Wow.
So if you're looking for records, a good idea to find out what if the records you're looking for were in one county or another county or even possibly in another state. So that's, when you're working with records, sometimes you have to go back and find out. In Maryland, the same problem. There were new counties made constantly from the mid 1700s all the way up through about 1800. So that's just a little hint for anybody who's doing research like that, if you're looking for records. And that's pretty much all I have.
All right. Thank you, Jerry.
Mhm.
Josh.
So I've been putting together my application for the Welcome Society of Pennsylvania, which is so one of my ancestors, I believe it was my 8th or 9th great grandfather, came over from England, and then he was over here in 1682, the week prior to William Penn. So that makes me eligible for that hereditary society. So I've been putting the application together for that, which is it's a 70-page PDF of all like vital documents. So it's a ton of information I've been putting together for that. So that's about it, really. I actually taught, this was a little while ago, but I taught a class at the school I work at. It was like a 2-week class. The kids got to do some Ancestry.com research, and then I had them do some research on like one particular ancestor. I don't know if I can share my screen or not right now.
What grade do you teach?
I'm a college counselor, so
Okay.
I teach mostly seniors. So let me pull this up and see if I can share the screen. No. Barbara, can I share my screen by chance?
Warning, your son is attempting to call you. He probably needs money.
Sorry. I'm gonna mute myself for a minute.
All participants. Okay, try it now, Josh.
All right.
Sorry.
No problem, you're good. So here is the, let me close this. Here is the page I put together. So here's all the kids' names. I don't know if
That's
this matter,
cool.
but here's their research that they've done. So all these people were related to them at some point throughout their, in their ancestry. So here's the first one. It was my student Val. This is his 12th great grandfather. His great grandfather, or his 12th great grandfather, actually owned a ton of land in Manhattan. So here was like the piece of land. Here's like the tip of Manhattan. But it was like back in 1580s. So the kids did a ton of research. They were able to go through Ancestry and do a ton of work within, it was a full day class. So it was during a full day over 2-week time frame. So that was pretty neat. This was Tristram Coffin, who was one of the students' 10th great grandfathers. He actually settled in Nantucket. A lot of the houses that are in Nantucket are named after his family members. A lot, like his family was huge out in Nantucket, which was kind of cool. This one was kind of neat, actually. It was one of the students did a bunch of research on his 2nd great uncle, mostly because his uncle died during World War II. We were able to find a bunch of research and actually pictures of the bombing where his grandfather passed away. It was a pretty neat thing with that. This was the one I kind of wanted to show everybody. It was Harrison Day. So his 6th great grandfather was actually in Plumstead, Pennsylvania. So not far from where I grew up at in Doylestown. It was interesting because I was talking to the student a little bit. And we're talking about where his grandfather and stuff. He was buried on actually my family friend's farm. He was buried on Highland Hill Farm in Doylestown. was this guy's grandfather. So the student decided to do some more research. This guy was kind of traveled all over the place, ended up passing away in Kentucky. But I thought it was kind of neat that this student's grandfather, or 10th grade grandfather, was actually still buried on my friend's family farm, and they named a road after him. It's called Harrison Day Road. It's actually in a new development it was built on that farm. So it's kind of a neat thing. But that's pretty neat. And then the last one I'm going to show you guys is just another student. It was Ara Cartwright. This student, it was interesting with her because her mom was adopted, but we were able to find out through her adoptive parents, like who her actual grandfather was. And she actually was able to meet her grandfather. But then we found out later that he lived on Nantucket as well in 1672. So him and the Tristram guy from earlier, Tristram Coffin, they actually bought land from each other back in like the 1600s. So the two kids in my group, their family members knew each other back in the 1600s and were able to purchase land from each other, which is pretty wild.
Fantastic.
Yeah, pretty wild. Yeah. So I think the kids loved it. They were able to do a ton of research on their families. It was a pretty quick class though. It was only 2 weeks, but they got a ton of stuff. I actually have all their ancestry. We were able to go back just in Ancestry, clicking on things, and got back, for most of them, back to like the 1600s. So it's pretty cool.
That's great.
That's
The amazing thing is that the young people are taking an interest in genealogy. You don't usually see that.
Yep. And I think for a lot of the kids, it was great for them to like learn about their families, learn some history information. Because I was telling them, like, the odds of like you two and like even that kid who's like grandfather or great grandfather or whatever is buried on my friend's farm, like that's unbelievable. Like in a small class of like 6 or 7 kids, and 2 of them purchase land from each other, then like I personally know where this guy's grandfather's buried at is pretty unbelievable. So,
Did the kids have an interest in genealogy, or did your class?
They had an interest in genealogy to start out. The goal was originally to start with doing the DNA piece of it first, and it didn't work out timing wise. Like by the time the kids got their kits, my class was already over. So some of them have actually done the DNA kits from now and are able to do additional research based on that. But yeah, it was the whole sign up. The kids could sign up for whatever courses they wanted to take through this J term. And mine was one of the ones that was offered for that 2-week time frame.
Very
interesting. Cool. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that's great, Josh.
That's all I got going on right now.
Cameras on.
Are you going to do it again?
Right now, yes. Like I'm probably going to do another one again next year. Like it's a possibility again to do another one. Yes, we'll see. Yep.
So regarding your application to the Welcome Society, Tom, I wanted you to tell Josh about your experience with Sons of the Revolution.
Do I have to? I applied. I applied, and they have a genealogist on their staff that checks all your documents. And I got into not an altercation, but I say a brisk discussion with the gentleman. That he told me that my grandmother wasn't my grandmother, and I just told him that I don't need his organization, and I haven't heard from him since. But they are very uppity about their documentation, and I proved it to myself, and I should prove it to him. But he didn't even want to read a census record. He said it could have been anybody living in that house, and I just said, I'm not going to argue with you. I just don't need you that bad. So I told him to, wander on in polite words. Yes. But no, I didn't get to join, but it's okay.
You were invited to a luncheon though, weren't you?
Oh, I took the gentleman to lunch, yes.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. I haven't submitted I submitted like the proposal form, but then there's like, once that gets submitted, then they're like, I've got to submit like all the documentation after that once my thing gets approved, but we'll see. Like it's going to go to a genealogist as well to look and see if all the research matches up, but we'll see what happens.
Yes, Susan.
I have a little, I used to be a member of the DAR, and from what they told me, that the sons had a long history or of not being very precise on their genealogy documentation. And I'm wondering, now that I'm hearing this, that if they're, trying to clean things up. Now, that's been a while ago.
Well,
but have you heard, anybody else heard that?
I haven't, but that doesn't mean anything. But I can certainly understand. And we've all had the experience where we've barked up the wrong tree and thought we were on the right trail and stuff. So I mean, I can see how that could happen. But in Tom's case, he had a very good case, and it just seemed a little harsh that the gentleman wouldn't entertain or even look at what Tom had. So, but I just thought it was an interesting cautionary tale, if you will. So, okay, Josh, was there anything else you wanted to share?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, keep us posted on the Welcome Society.
Yep.
Okay. Cynthia Zealy.
So, well, I have done absolutely nothing on genealogy since the last meeting. But
I don't feel so bad now.
But one of the things I'm trying to do is, as people in the family put pictures of their family members up on Facebook from time to time, I'm copying them onto my computer, because what I'm trying to do is I want to have a picture of every person that's in my family tree. I have 700, I doubt if I'll get a picture of everyone, but I have 700 people in my family tree. And so what I'm trying to do is, there's a way on Family Tree Maker that you can print a tree, including the person's picture, their date of birth. And I think that's really nice, that you could do that. But I mean, it gets to be a pretty big thing, but it's nice to have a picture. So I'm collecting pictures now and uploading them into Family Tree. The other thing I did was Thursday night, I think, Maria, you and I were on the same family search webinar, the one about using the catalog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Diana Elder.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
It was kind of long, but I thought it was pretty good and everything. So that's about it I've done. So.
All right. Well, thank you. And Cynthia McGinley.
I also had not done much. Genealogy work has been priority. The only thing I actually have been doing is I had a group of notebooks that had little slips of paper in them from, like jotting down notes or something from little visits or whatever. So I'm trying to actually consolidate all of that. And then I turned around and accidentally had a spill and spilled, I don't know, I think it was punch all over the notebook. So I'm having to start from scratch.
God.
Yeah, so it was.
That's a nightmare. Oh my God.
Not pretty. It's getting there. It's, about, let's see. But I'm down to that. And then the only other thing I have is I found a bunch of my mom's notes that I have not been able to throw away. So because they're in her handwriting, not that I don't already know the information, but it's just that it's her handwriting and it's her research. So I'm taking and putting them in plastic sleeves, just because I right now can't depart with them. So so that's it. That's all I'm doing, and trying to get back into it again. I think that's the really key for me is trying to get refocused. So thank you.
No, thank you. Susan, how have you been?
Hi. So I had my 70th birthday in December, so now I'm old.
Happy birthday.
Happy belated birthday.
You're just a mere child.
Yeah, right. Anyway, and so I have some sense that I need to get my genealogy organized a little better. And my mother gave me, she's the one that got me started on this 20, 30 years, 20, 30, 20, 30 years ago, probably. And I have all so anyway, I would like to ask the group for some guidance because I am trying to put it all together in a form that I can hand to my daughter. And what I've gotten interested in was kind of like when you get into genealogy, then you get into history. And so what I'm trying to do is to put groups of families, make it, let's see, how do I say this? So in Virginia, in the early 1700s, I have a family group, not just the family group, but everybody like the mothers and fathers of people that got married and where they lived in a locality. They were Quakers, which helps. And so what I want to do is be able to show on a map, you know, where they went to their Quaker meetings and also where they lived. So you could kind of see how they got together and they, you know, married one another. And then I also want to put down during the war, the 1776 war, they went to North Carolina, and I want to find out why and say why. So I want to give not only the dates and the places, you know, like whether they lived in Virginia. I want to get a sense of what was happening in their lives. Like maybe they went to North Carolina because they didn't want to be, you know, in that part of Virginia when there was, you know, people tramping through and taking food and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. And I started by, okay, maybe I want to do it by generation, like, you know, the first generation. But when I got back to the 1700s, like that generation was like, you know, and only taking my dad's side, starting with my dad's side, it got too big. So does anybody have any ideas on how to, you know, because I figured if I put them in generations, like you know, when I got back to the 5th generation, then you could see where people were living and how they might have gotten together. And maybe I could find some people that like I don't know about, like mothers of people. And then I have one other question. I want to know, I want to know what I can get from the maternal side DNA. I want to know if it's worth taking that test for I forget what the name of it is. Anybody? I'm sorry?
Mitochondrial.
Mitochondrial DNA. Has anybody done it? And that might be an easier question to ask.
So I did it. It was the first test I ever had. And now you might have a completely different experience because my mother is 100% Polish. And they came back 2 generations, you know, before her is when they came to the US. So okay. I have not had very much success in matches.
Anybody?
But that's not to say that everybody's going to have a poor experience with it. I just found it didn't really help me.
Okay. And where did you get your test from, and was it expensive?
My parents bought it for me as a birthday present.
That's nice.
And it was from, and this was a while ago, it was from National Geographic, and that was done, that was in concert with Family Tree DNA, FT DNA.
Okay.
So,
anybody else?
So I do not know the cost. I couldn't tell you. I haven't looked it up or anything.
Has anybody else done it? Nope.
Well, I've taken, I've had 4 DNA tests. So only because I'm adopted. So
Oh, okay.
You know, I obviously I can't do a Y because I'm not a male, but I did the autosomal, the mitro, mitodermal, or you know, whatever the hell it is.
Mitochondrial.
Mitochondrial, and so I did 23andMe. That was the first company I did. Then I did Ancestry, and then I did Family Tree DNA. And then the last one I did was MyHeritage. And the only reason I did that, it's not necessary for everybody to do that, you know, because you can transfer DNA over to MyHeritage.
Yeah, I heard about that.
But
so, did you find any women or men, or well, you wouldn't men, but
well, being adopted, it's more difficult for me,
right?
Yeah. You know, so yeah, it's just finding out who they're connected to.
Okay.
So, it's just a preference.
This might be a stupid question, but on that mitochondrial, it follows your mother's, the female
the mother's line. Yeah.
Line.
Yes.
But,
and I'm stuck on my third great grandmother Wilson, of course, Mary Wilson from Ohio.
But when Maria just mentioned men, I mean, does it, if your grandmother's brother, I mean, I don't know, I'm confusing myself, but are there any men that you're going to find on this line?
The son, let me see if I get this right. I know it in my head, it's just saying it out loud. It passes through the son, not the daughter. Isn't that correct, Barbara?
No, it passes
That's
through
the
the
other
daughter,
one.
not the son.
That's the other one.
That's the other way, yeah.
So for example, I have my mother's mitochondrial DNA. My son has my mitochondrial DNA, but not my mother's.
Right.
Because mine is going to be, or he has the same mtDNA, right? Because that's going to be the same, but he won't pass that on to his daughter.
Yeah.
Correct.
So it passes through the daughter, not through the son.
Right.
But if he took that other one for the males, he could find a better, which would obviously be yours, because he would find.
He would, if he did
No, he would only.
Oh, that would just be
doing
his father's.
His
father's. Okay.
Right. So Susan, I think the short answer is that you may find something, but the better bang for your buck is probably the autosomal DNA.
I did that 23andMe and Ancestry, and there's I'm just I'm just relentless in finding this Mary Wilson's parents. So anyway, but
just keep digging.
I know.
Checking all the time. You know,
that's it. That's all. I've been very busy.
So on that book thing too, Susan. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What?
I was saying they were Quakers in Virginia, you said?
Yeah, this family was Johnson. Of course, I have a Wilson and a Johnson. Johnson's from Bedford County, Virginia, and they came in the like 1690s, and the Mormons, which were Quakers but also had slaves, and when I was looking up on Ancestry, there was a Thomas Mormon slave trader. And so I spent that evening trying to find out the names of slave traders way back then in the 1600s that brought slaves to the United States or to Barbados. And I could find names of slaves that came, but I could not find the people driving the boats and making the money. So that I want to find that out too, but I don't know how to do it. Somebody's got to know that.
So in Virginia, about 1600s, the Meriwether family were very big ship owners that transported back and forth a lot. So from Nicholas I, Nicholas II, then there's Thomas. So there's a family lineage there They're out of England. So I don't know if that would help you, but you could look under the Merriweather. That's a big family name in Virginia.
Yeah,
Maybe that might help.
yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Just something new I found.
Thanks, Susan.
And a
John,
bit-
you're up. And John, you're on mute. All right, maybe we
Wait a minute, can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I just said if you want to talk, unmute. And I said, where does unmute come? Okay. Joshua mentioned 2 towns in Kentucky that he had knowledge of or people came from. My father-in-law was born in a little town, Munfordville, county seat of either Greene or that next county over. What were the name of those 2 towns, Josh?
I don't know off the top of my head. That was one of my students' families that they were doing research on.
Yeah, but you had it in that screen.
Let me pull it up. Hold on a second.
And I wasn't fast enough with a pencil.
No, that's fine. Let me pull it up for you.
And that's part of the family was in Virginia in 16.
Bracken, Kentucky, and then Germantown, Kentucky.
Bracken?
Yeah.
Germantown. I should have remembered that. Other than that, really haven't done anything. My wife's not interested in the Daughters of the American Revolution. I think she has a contact there, but she's not interested. My granddaughter's doing a little bit of work, but I haven't been that close in contact with her to talk genealogy. So that's about where I am at this point. Really, that's nowhere. So that's about it for me. I'm going to look up Bracken and Germantown and see where they are on my Kentucky map. All right, that's all I have, Barbara.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Shearer.
Well, let's see. Well, I will pretty much mirror everybody else and say I haven't done anything genealogical for me. Susan, I will agree with you, Susan. I'm just a year behind you, and I didn't discover I was old when I turned a calendar page. I discovered I was old when I was trying to get up out of a chair. So it pretty much has the same effect. One thing I did discover, and which I'm sure you folks know intimately, is fold 3. I didn't realize that I had it with Ancestry. In fact, once before I had tried to go through Ancestry and get it, and even though I paid for it, it wasn't there, and I never bothered to follow it. Anyhow, I tripped over it, and one of the amazing things I found was I'm doing some research for a guy who's writing a book, and I told you about the story before, but this guy who's buried separately in Europe. Anyhow, and what I was able to find was the name of the LCIL, which is called a Landing Craft Infantry, Large, which carries about 200 troops. And when they were invading southern France in August of '45, they traveled from Italy and stopped at Corsica and then landed there. I was able to find the number of the ship. I was able to find the captain of the ship, and I was actually able to find this guy's name on a manifest of the ship, which is amazing because in 1948 or 49, the Army, in its infinite wisdom, destroyed every manifest that it had of people coming, Army people coming back and forth from Europe. But the Navy kept these rosters on these little bitty ships, so I was pretty interested. And I will also tell you that Fold 3 is the devil's tool. It's kind of like Facebook. It is what my father would. My dad used to work for the school district, and when they had things out in the yard that were awaiting maintenance, they were called attractive nuisances because they attracted kids. Well, Fold 3 is an attractive nuisance. That's all I got.
There's bright, shiny objects, as Thomas McKenney would say.
They're everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bob. Dee, you're up.
Okay, I actually did a lot of work, so I had a great time this past month. I used newspapers.com. I took advantage of their 1 week free offer and got an absolute treasure trove of information. So if anyone has not tried it, I would highly recommend it. You try it for a week free. I found out so many things. One is in the old days, this was like the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, they use the husband's name quite a bit. So I put in my biologic paternal grandfather, Morgan Ivor Watkins, and I got articles about him, his father, who had the same name, and the wives of both my grandfather and great-grandfather. So there were 4 people that I got information back on. I found out that my mother, which I didn't know, was very seriously ill with measles as a child. That was published in the papers. I found out how social my grandparents were. They belonged to all kinds of organizations and committees that they were on, like the Moose, the Regents, the Knights of Malta, the Keystone Social Group. They were in a dart league. I found out information about estate planning, about moving parties, birthday parties, church activities, family reunions, etc. And then one very interesting thing I found was that my biologic paternal grandmother passed away before I was born. So my grandfather remarried. And I often wondered, you know, how he met my step-grandmother. I knew her only as my grandmother. And when I was going back and finding all these newspaper articles, I found a couple articles that talked about the women of the Moose. The Moose organization was a fraternal organization that helped needy in different areas. And my biologic grandmother ran a committee that had to do with people who had heart issues. And what would become my step-grandmother, she was on a children's committee. And so both she and the 2 of them and their husbands obviously participated in those committees. And I'm wondering if that's maybe how they met. So I'm finding all these little details very interesting. Then, I mean, we must have gotten about 100 articles. I mean, I worked a couple hours a day for those 7 free days. And so I thought, well, I'm going to start looking at myself, because my mother used to put in everything. Every time I got a degree, every time I moved, when I got married, all that stuff is in the newspaper. So I remembered, I kept telling my husband about how I had gotten this little award when I was in high school. So I don't know if you can see this, but right here, I won 3rd place in this contest for, it was a traffic poster contest, and it was held by the Kiwanis at Triple. There, I'm the last one over, and that's the judges. That's the judges. Okay. Mine's the last one, and it was Light Save Lives, and it was so cute because I actually found it. And I was able to show my husband and my family, you know, that I got this little award. And it was funny because I was a senior in high school at the time, and I had this free period. They called them study periods, and I thought, well, I was getting bored with that, and I thought I ought to do something with it. So I decided to, 6 weeks into the semester, I said, well, I'll take an art course and fool with that. Well, I was only in the course for a couple of weeks, and this contest came up, and I thought, well, I'll enter it. Well, it was just great because my art teacher loved it. We all got to go to lunch, and I went downtown. We had a great time. So anyway, I would really highly recommend that you try. It was just so much fun. And then before my free week was up, I also found another article, which was quite a lengthy article. It was like 3 pages for me, but it was in something called the Index out of Hermitage, Missouri. And it was about the death of the sister of my, I'll just call it great-grandmother. And it's like a book. It tells about her children, when they were married, who they married, where they lived. I didn't have like a date when she married, and I found it in the death article. I mean, it was a whole biography about her. So it's just a wealth of information. And when I'm done here today, I'm going to start going through that and start adding to her, you know, background stuff. So I just had a great time. I mean, it's a freebie, and I would highly recommend it. It was just so much fun to do. So, and I think that's all I have to report today.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was really fun.
Yeah, when I'm doing research for the Bucks County Dark History videos, I spend an awful lot of time on newspapers.
Yeah.
So, yeah, find a lot of info that way. It's good stuff.
Really great. Yeah, it was very valuable.
Thanks, G.
Mm-hmm.
Ev, you're up. Hi.
Okay. did anybody watch any of the videos for Roots Tech?
I tried.
Anyone do Roots Tech?
Yes.
Were you happy with it?
I enjoyed some of the videos I watched.
Okay. Well,
I downloaded a few of the handouts.
Oh, okay. Well, because I just thought I was overwhelmed. They had like thousands and thousands of these videos.
Yeah.
And I think they were kind of poorly organized because I just became overwhelmed that there wasn't a good indexing system to figure out which ones I was interested in. And I was kind of let down.
You're not the only one that said
They
that.
were categorized under topics.
Really?
Some of them were redundant and they were a little bit more low level than I expected them to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Sort
So
of entry
anyway,
level.
yeah, so I wasn't thrilled with all that. However, a week or two ago, I got a message from somebody on my heritage that said that she had got a freebie and logged in and then saw that her whole tree was done, thanks to me. So I found out that her maiden name is Newingham. I didn't want to tell her I'm the resident Newingham expert. And in fact, she just texted me a couple of minutes ago, and I said that I can talk once we're done our Zoom video today. But I have to ask her, her married name is Hess, and there's someone named Dustin Hess, who I presume is her son, that took the Ancestry DNA test. And he's probably in the Navy because he's out in Honolulu and he's of that age bracket. So I'll have to ask if that's why he's out there. But when I saw him last year or a couple of years ago as a match on Ancestry, I did the triangulation of who else him and I were also related to, and it was only people on my Newingham side. So I kind of worked on him and found this woman, Jody Hess, who messaged me on my heritage. So I'm gonna meet a new cousin soon and work on the Newingham. And that once again confirms that my grandfather is indeed a Newingham. I think I told you guys last year that his parents weren't married until he was like 11 years old or something like that. And half the family thought he was really a Newingham and the other thought maybe he was just, the dad was just the boyfriend. So this guy that's in the Navy in Honolulu who is a Newingham matches to me. So yay. So yeah, I'll meet a new cousin and let's see. That's about it, really. Talked to some cousins on my Shenandoah, Pennsylvania side, the Polish side up there in coal country. And they sent me a bunch of pictures. And one of the guys sent me some pictures with his mother and 3 unknowns. And I looked at this picture and it's my birth father and my 2 birth aunts. And I'm like, oh, I know exactly who these people are.
Cool.
And they're at some wedding because they're all dressed up in fancy clothes. So that was pretty cool. I sent him, so the guy that sent me those pictures, I sent him the email because Ancestry DNA was having a sale. You probably all got that email. They were having the St. Patrick's Day sale. And I sent it to him. Hey, it's on sale. And he's like, thanks anyway. I'm not that interested or I'm not that curious. He said, I'm like, damn it. So, yeah, so I'll try to get more and more people to take DNA tests. But that's about it. I haven't done a whole lot of research, but I do second the message about the newspapers.com. If you can get a sale, you can find stuff. And it's mostly all mid 20th century, I would find, maybe early 20th century. But you get some funny yearbook pictures with people with crazy hair, you know, and you also see a lot of wedding announcements So that's very cool. So that's about all I have this month.
Let me ask an ignorant question.
Yep.
Is newspapers.com and Fold 3, is that the same thing?
No.
Okay. Never mind.
No, but it's like you said, it's an add-on to Ancestry.
Yeah.
Like I'll get stuff on newspapers.com, and until I was a member, I would just save the link. I couldn't open it and see it. So I did a 6-month for newspapers.com, and now I'm going back and clicking all the links I've saved.
What did that cost you? Just out of curiosity. You remember?
It's about $60 for 60 months,
60
approximately.
60,
But you can try it out for the 7-day free. I mean, I got 100 some articles in 7 days, so you could just
That's a good
see if you
idea.
like it. Yeah.
Thank you. I will do that when I set aside some time. But yeah, great.
Right.
Thank you.
What I did was I bought the 6-month, and then I put a notice in my calendar the day before the 6 months is up.
I did that with the free trial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess I probably should start doing Ancestry stuff before I buy that, though.
Probably. Yeah.
Thanks, Bev.
Sure.
All right, Deb, you are up.
Is that me?
That's you.
Okay. I haven't been on Zoom with you folks. In fact, I haven't attended a meeting in a long while. And
that's okay.
I'm actually in Florida. And so I thought, why not? I'll log in and talk with everybody. But I made, in the past year, I've made a lot of very, very interesting discoveries. To piggyback off what some people were saying, I also, I have a Genealogy bank account that has newspaper articles. And I've been able to find newspaper articles in there that I didn't find in newspapers.com. So you might try that occasionally. And, you know, in fact, I found a really good one that settled an argument that I was having with another lady about our common ancestor. And she thought that he was from South Jersey, and I was contending that he was from London. And I found an article, a stonecutter from London, you know, is
that's the best thing is when you can settle an argument and you can win.
That's true. That's very, very true. And another interesting thing that happened over the past year was my mother's father is, all of his ancestors were Quakers to a greater or lesser extent. As you know, if you married out of meeting, you were no longer really considered a Quaker, but they still followed a Quaker lifestyle. Mm-hmm. And to piggyback on what Susan was saying, there's a number of Quakers from our area. As I was looking at different branches of the family, some of them took off for North Carolina and Kentucky because of an argument with their meeting. I have one ancestor, a sister of one of my ancestors. She and her husband belonged to a meeting in Oley. She was from Gwynedd meeting and married. Actually, it was Sarah Morgan and Squire Boone. My mother was a Morgan, and they had a daughter that legally married a man but didn't marry in meeting. And there was such a hubbub about it that the whole family took off for Kentucky. And she was actually then the mother of Daniel Boone, which was very, very interesting. So, you know, you can find a lot of history, maybe not with your direct ancestors, but with, you know, with other ancestors. One more interesting thing that I found about the Quaker ancestors, I always assumed that we just went back to like the 1680s, some of the ancestors in the New World or Pennsylvania. And I found one ancestor, however, that her people were from New England in the 1600s, and they had left the Quaker, when they became Quakers, that didn't sit well with the Puritan fathers, so to speak. And, you know, it's going back to the time of the Salem witch hunts and everything that, you know, I also didn't realize that men could be considered witches too. In fact, one brother of this ancestor that didn't leave, he was killed. He was hung. But anyway, they came down to Long Island and then to Monmouth, and then which was East Jersey, and then married Quakers that were from West Jersey. And that's how they got into my Quaker line. So you never know what you're going to find. It's very, very interesting. And before I say goodbye, one thing about Ancestry, I had bit the bullet and got the world membership because I wanted to see if I could trace some of my father's Irish ancestors. And it's funny, the people that came to the country most recently, I'm having the most trouble with. Because of the names and how they changed. The one name was Welsh, which could be written Walsh, or it can be written Welsh with an S, Welsh with a C. There were a ton of them. And the other is Smith.
Which, well, yeah, that's a problem.
But anyway, I didn't want to re-up at the world membership price. So I went in and I tried to re-up from my log, and I tried to re-up with the US membership and it wouldn't let me. It only offered me the world membership. So I canceled them and told them why. So I'm going to let them come back to me and offer me a better price.
They will.
Figure after a couple of weeks or maybe a month or so, I'll be hearing from them with a special offer or something. But I still had like 2 days left because I didn't want to be charged $150 on my credit card, which they have. And, didn't they cancel it right away? They didn't let me have the extra 2 days or anything. So just a heads up if you're thinking about doing that. So it's nice seeing everybody. I see a couple faces that I recognize from the meetings at Team Toyota.
Good to see you too, Deb. Enjoy Florida.
I am very much so. It's I retired just in time, just before COVID. I was a public school teacher, so I retired the end of the school year 2019. So I was very fortunate.
Yeah, you did get out in time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thanks, Deb. We're glad to see you too. Okay, Lynn, who looks so smart with her hairstyle these days.
And my robe?
I didn't even notice the robe.
Anyway, haven't really been doing much, but I did want to mention to Bob because he was very helpful. I don't know if you can see Bob, but I did get my father's outfit, and here my nephew had it. So I told him that I would give it back, but I needed to see it in the flesh. And it has the couple things sewn on it, but we haven't been able to locate the bars.
Can you take pictures and email them to me? I'll find it out. It's easy.
Okay. Email this, a picture of this?
Email a picture of what you want to find out.
Well, you sent me everything.
Oh,
I mean, he sent me like a narrative that was about a chapter long.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was
unbelievable, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
and I was telling my sister, she said, why do you want to see it, the jacket? I said, because Bob sent me this thing and I want to know where everything is and what I don't have. And no, you did. And I can't thank you enough for that. But that's all. That's all I've been doing. Nothing, not for lack of time, because I do have it. I just can't. I figure if I keep coming to the Zoom, it'll keep, if I write my little notes, I will get myself back into some kind of pattern again. But
good luck.
Anyway, thank you so much again.
Thanks, Lynn. All right, Mr. Kecklin.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Susan, when you start running down dead ends and you run out of places to look, there's all kinds of places people could have disappeared with back in those days. The almshouse, asylums, jails. Just, they just could disappear in there, you know, and they won't be counted. Anyway, I was at the township office paying my taxes the other day. On the way back, I stopped at my cousin's house. Her father had just passed away. This is a laminated card that the funeral home gave out because, you know, nobody can go there anymore and all that kind of stuff. And I just thought it was the neatest thing because it's got his picture. And while I was visiting, I did some DNA work or genealogy workup on her husband. And it's amazing. In an hour, I've gotten back into the 1880s. Some people's family, when you trace them, they just, the information just jumps off the page. Other ones, it just goes nowhere. Anyway, I drove it over. It's like a 2-page thing on the descendants. And I took it over to them, and they were thrilled. And really, that's all I've done.
Very good. Thanks, Tom.
I get my second shot on the 21st.
Good.
Then he'll grow his tail.
I beat you by 2 days, Tom. I'm going on the 19th for my second shot.
Yeah, good for you. Well,
mine.
you always pulled rank on me.
Huh?
You always pulled rank on me.
Yeah.
Maria, you're up.
Hi everybody. Yeah, I've been doing the genealogy. I'm just really tired. I don't know why. But I made a promise. I think I told you in January. I'm not big on, the stuff, but I promised myself I would work within my genealogy programs. And I was doing so good, but I've fallen off the wagon. I don't know why. I go in and it's like I get focused, lost with the bright shiny objects, and I forget what's, the programs itself. So anyway, I just gotta work better and harder, I guess.
Nothing you have enough time to put 10, 12 emails on Facebook every day.
Yeah. I try. That's about it. Nothing exciting.
Nothing exciting. Okay. All right, Elaine. And Elaine, if you can hear us, you're on mute.
I'm here.
Is there anything open?
All right, Elaine, if you can hear us, you're on mute.
Is this okay? This will be easy for you to eat.
Yeah.
There she is. Hello, Elaine.
Are you seeing me, Elaine Nikowski?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my goodness, that's a treat. I have a problem. I have a genealogy problem, but it's huge. My whole family, except for my first generation and my grandmother, one grandmother, is from Poland.
That sounds like me.
Huh?
That sounds like me.
Oh,
Welcome
okay.
to the crowd. You're in the right chat area.
Well, my husband's family has a lot of people that are doing genealogy and contact me. So I'm all the way back like 6 generations in the Nikowski family. But my own family is the Olejniczak family. And I go back 3 generations and 1 or 2 fourth generations. But that's it. I have hit a wall and I don't know how to go any further. I had to stop getting Ancestry because I was wasting it. I'm 84 and I can't remember. So I might find somebody, but I don't know where they go. So that for me is my problem, but my biggest problem is my genealogy for the first, the second, different, but they had a family feud and they broke off totally. So what I did was question people when I would meet them. I've been doing it about 40 years. I'm a librarian in my in retirement for many years now. And I wanted to do it as search. And to me, that's like part of my job. And so I tried that and I got so far, and that's where I am. The Olinichuks had so many children and there were so many marriages and they used the same names over and over. So if anybody can help me with that, I would like it. And I tried to do it last month, and I was going to go to the real classes when you had them, but I had to stop driving and I hate to pay somebody to take me. So I'm loving this way to find information. And I've been listening very well. Thank you.
You're welcome. So have you attempted to go out on any of the Polish research sites?
No, I haven't. I do have an ability to speak a little bit of Polish, but if they talk too fast, I'm lost. I almost have to figure out each word as we go, and then so it's and I can't really read it, and I use Translate, but sometimes it doesn't work.
In the chat, I'm going to send you a couple of links that I've had some success with that are all Polish records.
All right. I have loads of Polish records, but I mean, links for them. And I mean, a whole page of links, but I just don't seem to find any family that I can use. I did my DNA and they've sent me names, but now I can't figure out where they belong. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Elaine. All right, and Shari.
Hi. I have a similar thing with my Hungarians. I haven't been working on my Hungarians in a while because I have, how many Helens can I have? Well, I can have like 12. And apparently Kish, or Kiss, is the same as Smith in the village where my people are from. And my other surname on his side is Harnotz, and they changed it to Harmus. And my goodness, there are, I can't tell you how many. Harnotz is apparently like Johnson. So it's super difficult to look at my Hungarians. So my mother's side just sits there and stares at me, and I just let my cousin look things up. Unfortunately, he's from my step-grandfather, so he looks up things that I don't always need so much. So I'm still transcribing the Horsham meeting minutes from the turn of the century, 1897. I'm up to 1907. I'm down to the last like 20 pages to transcribe. So I have all these nice Horsham surnames from 1900 where they all attend this meeting and take minutes, talk about current topics, which is pretty interesting. And sometimes names come up that they're talking about or quoting. And so I Google them. And I did that to look for a professor who was talking the other day. And what came up was the Abington Friends meeting, essentially the school book from 1917. and I hadn't seen that before. And it was wonderful because it didn't just have the names of the teachers and a list of the students. It had photographs.
Good.
And it had the board members. It had stories. It has the alumni lists listed out by year of graduation into the 1800s.
Wow.
Because they were still alive, right? And then and with the Quakers, you know, all the same generations are there. So, you know, I look at I'm looking right now at Isaac Warner and Lydia Perry, who's the secretary writing these notes. And the current Friends topics is told by Bertha Tomlinson. So I have Perry, Tomlinson, Comley, all these are in my tree, Paxson. By the time I get down to the 1900s, they're become distant cousins, but they all track back into my tree. And so I can look at that yearbook, and you know, it's not just this person right here that I'm looking at, but I can go into that alumni list and see their parents and their aunts and uncles all there. So if there was a question of residency or death or whatever, it could perhaps just be answered so easily with this school yearbook from Abington Friends Meeting. And I'm sure they have other documents in other places that are similar. So I would suggest that as an odd, different place to go look for things. If you have Quakers, you could certainly look at the Quaker at Swarthmore College, since it was founded that way. And this group, the Horsham group, has professors come from Swarthmore to give papers, as they call them, talks to them.
Yeah. Well, we have a religion that is worldwide, and it's not that easy to find anything. My father comes from Poznan, and my mother is from Krakow, and it's just I can find, but the names were so difficult that they changed them, and not the whole family changed it to the same name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
mine's the same way. Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Yeah.
So a cousin contacted me once and said, I think you must be my cousin because you keep turning up. And I said, tell me some of your family names. And she did. And I said, yes, your father was my uncle, my great uncle. And she said, really? So we corresponded after that, and the message came through Ancestry. So it is a wonderfully historic learning experience to find all of these family members. And I know I'm talking way too long, but my son-in-law's family is related to the kings and queens of England, including one or two saints. And he had his DNA done, but he refused to share it with me. I went all the way back. They're related in some way to Joan of Arc. And my granddaughter, who's now in medical school, was about 10. And I called her and she said, we're studying Joan of Arc. I said, oh, that's wonderful. If you find out any names, let me know. But she didn't. She just went in and said, my grandmother told me that I'm related to her. A lot of family myths. You got to be careful. You hear wonderful stories about being related to American Indians, American natives, and there's no sign of them. So that's I've learned to funnel out the stuff that I know can't possibly be true, but you still can fall for these myths. So be careful too. Don't add people you're not sure of and then broadcast it. Wait until you're sure and then broadcast it. Thanks for listening. I enjoyed talking to you all.
That's what we're here for. Sorry, what else do you got for us? Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
What else do you have for us?
Well, that was kind of the main amusing thing was this little discovery, and I'm still just working on these minutes. I did go through, I don't know, like 100 hint family trees off of the Roots Tech, because I opened up people that were my cousins, according to them, in the mass database dump, and I just took my little what's it called on my thing? My snip and sketch, my little copy paste button on my computer, and I just copied their tree out. So I have a folder of these little copy trees.
Cool.
And so I just go through and find where they are to see how they hook into what I've already got. And so I added a bunch of people to try. It kind of like gave credence to stuff I already had because they had some sources I didn't have. And then I hit, I hit a couple of those little hint lines from them, and I went, huh, that is totally not what I have for that. So they digressed on a spouse that I didn't agree with. So I have a not my people folder now. So, but I'm so, and I tend to think I'm probably the one who's wrong since I'm such a beginner. But so I have a little pile of, I have a trash pile, and I have a pile I haven't quite all gotten to yet. But all these cousins, they seem to branch off. They branch off of similar spouses, or I don't have that much in that database, so everybody kind of was going off of one line that I had put in there, that up to a degree where apparently this all hooked into. And I tried, after I saw what was going on, I went in and added my ridges, my other Bucks County line that I really want more verification with. But it was too late, I guess, for that search database to suck it in and hook me up. So I hope they do that again next year, so that I can get my other line that I'd like to see more on hooked in there. So that's talk about shiny objects. So that was my shiny object.
All right, everybody. Well, we've made
Don't
it through.
Don't forget to turn your clocks ahead tonight.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for the reminder. I forgot about that.
Our next meeting is going to be April 10th. Saturday, April 10th. Same bat time, same Zoom channel. And it's good to see everybody.
Absolutely. It's
Thanks a
always
lot,
good.
Barb.
All right. Have a great one, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.